This is that mindset moment when I make sure that I'm actually live before I push record. Okay, hi, I am Lynette Louise, the Brain Broad, and welcome to another segment of the Virtual Leadership Summit. I'm really happy to have you here, and I'm really happy to have the guests. But of course, before introducing you to my guest, I have to tell you that I have a book. It's a really important book. It's called The Seven Senses of Leadership, and it'll help you to understand how to get information out and information in. This is important if you're going to lead. You can't lead people if they can't hear you. And sometimes some of our senses block our other senses. So for example, if I see something that I find repulsive or frightening, I shut down all my other senses. Well, hopefully you're not repulsive or frightening as a leader, but you could be in some other way, in a more subtle way, turning people off and helping them to turn down the senses that you need them to turn up to pay attention to you. So it's important, and I suggest you go to Amazon.com and get it. Okay, commercial is over. This is the Virtual Leadership Summit. I'm calling it Seeking the Path, and I'm calling it that because I think that's what everyone's doing. We're all seeking the path to something. In this case, it's leadership. And to do that, I wanted to grab interviews from all kinds of leaders in the world, people who are behind the scenes leaders, people who are way out in front saying, look at me, look at me, look at me. So today we have a very close friend. I'm really excited to introduce him to you. And his name is Paul Morrow, and I've known him for a long time, and he's a multimillionaire, and now you're going to meet him. So there you go. You know he's a success. So hi, Paul. Thanks for being on the show.
Hello.
All right. So we're going to start with, there aren't very many people I could ask this question of. So before I ask it, though, they need a little backstory on you. So you built up a company with, it's a family business, right? The original company?
That's correct.
Okay, so you had a family business, you all worked it together, and you sold it for millions of dollars.
A while back,
Okay, so here's where Paul is going to come in really handy, is that there are many people I can ask about that process, about what it feels like and how you deal with suddenly being retired early, and it can be a struggle. So most of the people that talk to you want to tell you about, oh wow, you know, success is freedom, success is this and that, but sometimes if you're not ready for something, you come up against some unexpected walls. So Paul, can you share a little bit about what it was like when you first sold the company, and how you dealt with it, and give some tips to people?
Yeah, I mean it's actually fairly terrifying to leave something you know and you build and you work on, and things just have a season, and sometimes that season comes to a close. Uh, I'm not retired, and I don't plan to retire. I'm in the process with my family of building another business right now. But you know, and when you get to that place and that point, uh, you're not sure if that's what you call success or not, especially when you've enjoyed building something up. So there's just a time to move on and a time to do something different. But basically, largely, it's not so much. It's truly bittersweet. It's sweet in the sense that you got off the merry-go-round with the ability to go do something else, but it's bitter in the sense that the organization and the people that you've worked with for a long time are going to be a part of the past story, not a future story.
Okay. And so my question really, what I'd love to hone in on is, were you ready for that? When you first sold the business, were you ready for it to be bittersweet, or did you expect it to be just sweet?
I knew it would be probably more bitter than sweet. I wasn't surprised by that. It's hard to explain what it's like to where you see we built things, we built industrial products. So you walk right out the door and you see all this tangible validation of you and what you do, what you're trying to accomplish, and the people you're accomplishing it with. And you go from that to ones and zeros in space stuffed in a bank account somewhere. I can't necessarily tell you it feels fantastic. It just is. And then you're sort of faced with defining who you are and what you want to do going forward. And my choice was to get right back in the trench.
Okay. So that sort of leads me to what I was thinking about is you must have some really sort of special advice for people. Like, for example, do you think you could have been better prepared for that?
Yeah, I do. I think I could have been better prepared. But I also think that when you go through that, when you're committing to the process of trying to sell a business, it requires so much of your attention that you're not preparing yourself for the day that it closes. And the day that it closes is just a different day, and probably a day, if you haven't lived through it, I'm not real sure how you would prepare for it. I think the only advice that I could give on that would be that life will not be as it was. And so you have to be thinking about exactly what that means in your case. For some people, that means I got the ability to do whatever I want now, and I'm happy about that. For other people, it can leave you in some confusion about what your calling is and how you're going to fill it.
Okay. So now a lot of the people that will be watching this summit, one of the things that they're hearing all the time is that, financial freedom is freedom. And and I'm interviewing people that had a totally opposite experience to what you did. They didn't get back on the on the merry-go-round and are running around trying to spend all their money. So it can be different for each individual. But when you think in terms of helping others who are sort of having this path laid out in front of them of go after it, make lots of money, quit and have fun, what would you want to share with them that might be helpful?
Well, I think it's kind of an irony. If you have enough money to lay on the beach, you won't be the person who lays on the beach. And what I mean by that, if you like to move and shake and try to make things happen, and that's just kind of in your DNA, and consequently you can afford all these things that look wonderful and relaxing. But if you have the nature to create all those things before, you won't have the nature to lay around very long.
Right. Okay. So now, what was the best thing that came out of, selling the company and ending up a multimillionaire?
Well, I was already in a good financial position before, so it really wasn't necessarily something that was going to change how many steaks I had in one given day, or whether I needed 1, 2, or 4 cars. So I would say the benefits of doing that are that you get to start with a clean slate and build something different. What money represents to me is an opportunity to do something else. As far as financial freedom goes, I'm not, I guess that's a term that you could say I've been really blessed and fortunate to experience that. But as for me, that doesn't really make me feel good. What makes me feel good is trying to go be productive. And so that was my own choice. But that happened to me at an age where I was 45 years old, 40, maybe 42. 42 years old. It's been about 5 years since, and it's hard to say, are you right or you're wrong. But a lot of people would say you don't go broke taking a profit either. So it's just been a chance to start over and redo something different. I don't think any one experience as a company owner is ever going to be exactly a duplicate at any given time. But I think that having had the experience once at a relatively young age, I think I'll have a unique opportunity to do some other things in the future.
Okay, and I think that's very cool. I had a thought in that all the people that I know that are extremely wealthy and have done really well, that didn't follow like this, recipe in the marketing world and get all the technology down and do all that stuff to sell themselves out in the whole world. All of those people had family businesses. And it's an interesting thought. So can you speak to the whole concept of family business and if you think that was part of your success?
Yeah, I have to say it's especially my success. I mean, I got to I followed my dad's career path. I started chasing him around with a pipe wrench when I was 14 years old. Business talk was always dinner talk, And so you get an apprenticeship out of a family that you don't get anywhere else. A family business is always going to hold your interest and the interest of the family above just basically any kind of what you'd call corporate politics you face maybe in what I call the real world. So I'd say I was fortunate not to have to be in the real world, at least on the inside, in a family business. But I don't think you get a chance to get the kind of mentoring and the kind of responsibilities at an early age anywhere that you do in a family business. Now, being involved in a family business, a lot of people think, well, that makes it easier. Well, not necessarily. You're going to get the worst jobs there are. You'll get chewed on before anybody else about results. It's a different kind of relationship that you have with everybody, but it's a relationship that's been built up over, decades of trust. And those are the best kind of business relationships to be in my opinion.
Yeah, very, very cool. I love what you said about over the dinner table, because I think that sort of answers why there's, doctors have doctor children, and you just are having a different conversation than someone that doesn't have a business to talk about. I have 3 questions I've been asking everyone, and we're almost out of time. It's been great. So I'm going to ask you. So what is your definition of leadership?
Of what? I'm sorry?
Leadership.
Of leadership? Okay, leadership, in my opinion, is being willing to self-sacrifice for the good of organization.
Wow, very cool. I haven't had that answer before. Okay, and what's the definition of success in your opinion?
Success is always success in relationships to people.
Nice. And how would you know if you have a successful relationship?
Well, most of us know what a bad relationship's like, so we know what a good one's like too.
Okay. And when you taste your food if you like it or you don't. Okay, all right, I'll go with that. Last one. How would you describe the path to success? If you were giving tips to someone just coming up that just really wants to run a business like yours was, is there anything that you can help them know?
Well, I'd say it's a journey, not a destination. You have to commit to the discipline of getting better at what you do every single day. Every single day, you've got to come in and think, how can I do it better? How can I be more productive? How can I serve my people better? And if you're willing to do that every single day, success will be the result of it. I think, you have to love what you do and money follows. If you love money only, you'll be making short-sighted choices all along that can't lead to eventual long-term sustainable success.
Right. And you did say something very important that I'd like to highlight. You walk in, you say, how can I make my people better? How can I help them to do a better job? And that's thinking about them helps them to work for you, correct?
Yeah, that's right. It's really a circle, not a pyramid. Everybody's sitting there trying to, when you serve the organization, you all serve yourself, and, it all comes back. So you have to be thinking about how you serve your organization, the one that you're in, to everybody's interest that ends up indirectly being in your own interest.
Right. Okay, so we're done. Is there any last words, or do you want people to be able to hang out with you, get to know you, connect with you, or do you just want to say goodbye?
Either or.
All right, so just in case somebody wants to check out your business, maybe an investor is interested in you, why don't you give some contact info?
Okay, well, my email is paul@morrowenergy.com, and that would probably be the best way to get in contact with me.
And all your businesses have been in energy?
All the successful ones.
That's another segment. All right. Thank you for being here, Paul. I really appreciate it. It's really great when you can pull from the heartstrings of your friends and get them to share things that other people wouldn't. I really appreciate it. I'm Lynette Louise, the Brain Broad. We've been talking with Paul Morrow, and you've been paying attention to the virtual summit, Seeking the Path. Now I have to, it always looks so funny at the end when I'm looking for the stop broadcast button. Goodbye.